Joining us today is Michelle Pope, a seasoned operations executive with extensive experience in technology and healthcare. From leading strategic security migrations to optimizing business performance, Michelle has a track record of driving organizational excellence and fostering high impact transformations. In this episode, we'll explore her insights on leadership, operational efficiency, and strategic growth. That was a mouthful, but thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here with you both.
Absolutely. So we'll jump right into the questions. What moment in your career has taught you the most?
So there's a few things that come to mind, but I'm going to single in on one that may seem a little silly, but it goes to being a woman in technology. Being in an executive leadership role in technology as a woman is not easy, as I'm sure many practices have the same challenge. In our executive team, there were two women, and I happened to be in a meeting, executive meeting, all the executives around the boardroom, and I consume information very well when I'm taking notes. So if we're just talking, I may miss some things, but I was sitting in the room taking my notes, and the meeting wraps up, and my boss, the CEO at the time, pulls me aside and says, "If you want to be seen as an equal at this table, you do not take notes like an executive assistant." And I was like, wow, that is because everybody would always at the end of the meeting say, "Michelle, can you share your notes with me?" And I said, wow, that's something I never even realized. I do it for my own edification to consume the information. And he's like, yeah, you have to find a better way. So I think that was really eye-opening for me as a female at that executive table, is to be seen as an equal. You have to be aware, alert, and participate, and not be in front of your computer or taking notes.
That boils my blood, but I hear it, and
you could take that differently, right? I can understand that. Mm-hmm.
No, it's just sad that that's what we have to think about, because they wouldn't say that to a guy. So, that wouldn't have been the note. But anyway, I'm glad you learned from it and you embraced your power and took it on. So,
yes.
If colleagues could have 3 words to describe you, what would they be? Or thoughts, doesn't have to be a particular word.
All right, I'm going to go with the ones that I think will be professional. Let's. I would say the first one would be authentic. And I always say this to folks. I'm a very transparent leader. I share as much as I know, as much as I can, to help people understand why we're going in the direction that we're going, or why we're doing what we're doing, or why we're making a decision that we're making. If you understand it, then you can get behind it, or you can at least not oppose it. So I would say authentic would be the first. The second would be inclusive. I don't walk into a room with an agenda and an outcome that is solely my outcome. I want to be in that room surrounded by folks that we have a task at hand and we come out with even better outcome than I was anticipating. I like collaboration. I always say that I'm not the smartest person in the room. I surround myself by those people so that we can really do things at a different level and do them together. And then the last one, I would say fun. I like to work hard, but I also like to play hard. So I want to have as much fun in the office or during the day as possible. So I'm always looking for ways to bring the group together, whether it be, hey, let's all go for a walk at lunch, or we used to do after hours bingo and all sorts of fun things to keep the team not only working really well together, but blowing off steam really well together.
It's important stuff. It's important to have that team cohesion. And I've used humor. I've used different ways to do that in the past. I know Tara's been great at bringing communities together. So it's a great, great idea. Outside of your professional achievements, what passion project or personal interest has taught you skills that make you better at what you do?
So I would say that, and this is something that people don't know about me, I'm actually a kickboxing instructor. And yes, that came about because I tore my ACL doing something really stupid in the pool in Florida. And I had a long rehabilitation road ahead of me. And I didn't want to be in my elder ages, not able to do things because I had this injury. So I really took PT very seriously. So I joined this gym in my brace and I started PTing with kickboxing. And at some point in the few years, they said, we're looking for instructors. Would you like to join us? And I had a full-time job, but I'm like, hey, this is a way to help other people. Similar to myself, we get all sorts of folks that come in that have different ailments, different injuries, different age brackets. And what you do is you show them that they can kickbox and they can alter what they need to do based on that injury or that age level. So it's really rewarding working with folks to try to help them achieve their fitness goals in lieu of injuries, because a lot of folks would just not work out or not even kickboxing, especially because of that injury. So that's, would say I call it my side gig.
I
Your
love it.
side hustle that you can take someone down.
Right.
So, could you tell us about a mentor of yours and why they were an important mentor?
So I had a CEO in an organization that I was with for 18 years. He recruited me out of another organization. I can remember that day very vividly. And it was someone that taught me a lot, especially about being an authentic leader. He is still a peer and a friend today, cultivated a community, a family within the workplace. And each of us started off I started off as an application engineer. So we started off at the bottom level of the company and we grew into executive roles. So we were truly a family. Some might say that we were hard to penetrate as a group because we were so close. But he didn't have us living within the box of a job description. He utilized our skills throughout the organization. And sometimes our job description didn't fit what we did because we each had different skills that we played off of. And he was just such an inspiration and truly caring. I remember during 9/11, we as leaders all took pay cuts to keep the employees employed. Things like that. He would always think, how can I help? How can I pay it forward? And he promised us after 9/11, when things were stable again, that he would pay us back the money that we lost. And he did. And we were able to keep everybody employed through that really hard time. So definitely an inspiration to this date.
That's outstanding. That is absolutely outstanding. I think that's why we've connected so well, is that we have that same mindset, that pay it forward mindset. And it's
Mhm.
great to hear how you got it. What book or podcast has inspired you?
So that same CEO, we used to say it was leadership by bestseller, because every week he was putting another book on our desk that he wanted us to read. And it was something that would help us transform the organization or transform each other. But I'd have to say Good to Great by Jim Collins. And in my previous organization, I actually we had a book club and I made everybody read that. And what really stood out for me in that book was that you may have really great employees. So they're the right seat, they're the right person for the bus, but they may be in the wrong seat. And acknowledging that as a leader and finding that best fit within the organization is very important. Whereas other leaders will say, you're not doing what is expected of you, put you on a performance improvement plan, and then you're out of the organization. So I really look at people's skills and understand where they're the best fit and work with them to say, hey, this might not be the best role, but however, look at this opportunity over here, and get them really excited about staying within the organization.
That's a really great skill to have, and people, I don't think, appreciate it on the surface, but it is so critical to be able to
Mhm.
see what your employees' strengths are. So, moving off from that topic, if you could spend a day learning from anyone, living, historical, fictional, who would that be?
This is a really hard one because I went back and forth with family members, mentors, historical figures, and I land on Michelle Obama. And it's not because she was the coolest first lady and the best dressed at all. but that is a factor. But through her Obama Foundation, she created the Girls Opportunity Alliance. And that alliance was aimed at empowering adolescent girls through education. And being in technology, we have a shortage of young women. We have a shortage of women overall in technology. And I've always been passionate about STEM opportunities because of that. So I'd have to say Michelle Obama.
I'm very partial to that answer, so thank you very much. If you could spend, oh wait, we just did that one. What do you see as the future of the industry?
What I would like the future to be would be more dominated by women, because since my career inception, there's always been a deficit in the technology industry. Um, AI, and whether we like it or not, Chat GBT and all these tools that we have that we can cheat on our answers and write really great responses. As a matter of fact, I was talking to someone about this podcast today, and I said, I've got these questions I have to go over, and they're like, use Chat GBT, and I'm like, no, that's not authentic. So I would say AI is the future.
I think that's very true. It's going to be a challenge how it's used because it can create inauthenticity, which is what you were talking about, is so antithetical to a leader. But it is something that is so amazingly helpful in speeding up certain processes. And
Right.
from a brainstorming perspective, it can be fantastic. But you're right, it can't overtake that human connection. But this has been fantastic. Before we wrap, is there anything you wanted to share?
I wanted to thank you both for the opportunity. I think what you're doing here with these podcasts is amazing. And I would highly recommend others to do this. You make it an easy environment, and it's a really tremendous way to have leaders and organizations see the qualities of potential candidates. So thank you again.
Well, thank you. That's so kind. But that is why we're doing it. So
Exactly. And I think anybody that's been listening in will now have a really good sense of your character, your leadership style, but also your insights. I think it's a great way that someone can see all of those things that you just can't get on paper.
Right.
So outstanding. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll put all the ways to connect with you in the show notes, and I'm sure it won't be long before the phone will start ringing. So thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you both.
MTMG, guidance that empowers.